Hello and welcome. This is another day of trying to dispel the false information, misleading information, and outright lies and smears that go on related to Ken Geis. Maybe there'll be something else to focus on in the near future, but I'm not going to just sit by. I'll try to do the best I can to dispel the falsehoods, innuendos, and just outright lies that are told about Ken Geis and continue to be told. So adding to the lies was a new one, but the ones I've already covered are that Ken Geis wrote his own contract. That was one. Ken Geis got paid a severance. That was one. And the new one is Ken Geis said he never took a vacation day. So Ken Geis said he never took a vacation day. So the funny part is people that actually know Ken Geis might think, well, that could be true. The guy works like an animal and is always in the office, but it's not true. I'm going to dispel it and try to break through the utter nonsense that has been spread. So my buddy Bill Thomas says in a post he made, basically Geis, he can't spell Geis right, but Geis claims in 12 years he never was sick or took vacation. And then he says Geis, again spelled wrong. So he spelled it wrong twice. I can't criticize. I'm a terrible typist. People get me all the time. I have to have my wife review things that I type, but it's spelled wrong again. Geis should be ashamed of himself for falsely stating he's never taken paid time off, but no one was watching. So that's another complete made up bullshit smear that isn't even remotely true. So let's keep going, and I'm going to break it down because unlike just throwing shit out, because there's people I favor and get along with, there's people that I don't trust, that kind of stuff, and but I don't just make shit up. I do actual real research, not just surface level. And as soon as I find something that supports my point of view, I just throw it out there and assume that's the entire story. So, Guy should be ashamed for falsely stating he's never taken paid time off. I just want to say that, man, Ken Geis lives in these guys' heads. He announced his retirement resignation in mid-November of 2021. He dominated the meeting at which they were hiring a new administrator. They talked about Ken Geis as much as they talked about the new administrator, Susan Cohen-Ayers. Because they're just so fixated on Ken Geis. And you saw, I put some videos, you saw of Bill Thomas talking. You've got Michael Logue demonizing Ken Geis and leaving things off of his narrative about Ken Geis, leaving off parts of quotes from articles when he's reading them. John Becker critiqued Ken Geis as Ken Geis didn't, it was Ken Geis's fault we had to have executive sessions because he resigned. Well, he resigned in November with 7 weeks notice. So give me a break. So he lives in their heads and they can't resist. And maybe part of that's because I like to believe part of that's because I don't give the guy a bum rap all the time. But, one of the things I want to have a different little video clip from the meeting that took place on Tuesday. And I want to actually give credit where credit is due, which is something this guy likes to say. And because there was only one trustee, when I looked through the video from that meeting, as far as I could tell, there was only one trustee that did not demonize Ken Geis during the meeting. And that trustee was Joe Dills. And let's listen to what Joe Dills said at one point in the meeting relating to Ken Geis.
Okay. Just a couple things. You got to give credit where credit's due, and I want to thank the previous board of trustees. They're the ones that locked in the deal with TQL, that secured that up at the end of the year. And then Mr. Logue, you were a part of that, and our two previous trustees as well, and Mr. Geis is a part of that. So I want to give them credit for that.
So you see there, Joe Dills, I got to appreciate that he's giving credit where credit is due. Now, let's move forward from just Ken Geis living in their heads. What Joe Dills was talking about was the 1,000 job expansion at TQL, 1,000 jobs. I don't know how much those jobs are going to pay, but if they pay an average of $50K a year, that's $50 million in economic activity. 1,000 jobs at $60K a year is $60 million of economic activity. You might get the rhythm here. It's 1,000 jobs. It makes the math easy. So that's the kind of impact Ken Geis had on a regular basis within our township. Significant development of new jobs, significant revenue, significant revenue to families, which is what salary is and income, but then also significant revenue to the township. That was an everyday thing. And so even going out the door after the guy had resigned, they lock in another deal. And I know Joe Dills, I mean, it's fair. Michael Logue was part of that too. But remember, Michael Logue says he was never included in anything back in those days. So, and I think that's part of his sour grapes. But that's 1,000 new jobs. So let's break down. What I did is I actually broke down Ken Geis's tenure from when he returned to basically when he exited on December 31st, 2021, to the best of my ability. I'm not saying this is perfect. I'm not saying it is without any flaw or miscalculation or not understanding one of the numbers quite perfectly, but I'm saying this is pretty damn close. This is pretty damn close to reality here. I don't think there's any material error or misstatement in what I'm going to show you here. So March 11th, 2010 to December 31st, 2021 is 11.8 years. Based on the actual contracts, because there were a couple over time that, and I've not seen all of them, but I've seen several of them. The total accumulation of sick time and vacation for Ken Geis would be 3,744 hours. The payout when he left was for 3,087 hours, which is what the contract called for, that he would get paid out what he didn't use. That, contrary to the statement, he lied, he never took a day off, this just made up bullshit. That would mean that Geis took about 657 hours, which is 55.7 hours per year in vacation and sick time. And anybody that knows Ken Geis knows that's probably feels about right. So the guy would go hunting maybe sick a day. That's about what he did. Anybody that knows him knows that he also worked every Saturday for the township. That he was basically a 6 day a week employee. And I'm not saying, I don't want to make, I'm a nerd, but Ken wasn't out hobnobbing, playing golf and doing stuff like this. He's a guy that worked his ass off for this township, and we see the results everywhere around us. And it is pathetic that we have these people trying to just constantly undercut him. But I think they ultimately undercut themselves because they're trying to bring in a new administrator. But even when they're bringing in a new administrator, they can't help but focus and make the focus Ken Geis. So pretty simple. I want to break down. Did Geis lie about vacation taken? I don't see any evidence that he lied. To me, it seems very reasonable that the guy took about 6 days a year off in vacation and sick time. That's the way he is. Did he get paid as if he took no vacation or sick time? No, he got paid as if he took about 7 days a week off, 7 days a year off in vacation and sick time. Did he get paid something he was not entitled to under his approved contract? No, he did not get paid something he was not entitled to under his approved contract, including for, I guess, was it a 2-year period where Michael Logue was on the board. So that is the breakdown that I would put forward to you that is more accurate. But I went deeper than that. And I tried to put together, I'm not saying this is perfect. I'm not saying it is without any flaw, but I tried to factor everything in and look at the total cost of Ken Geis, including the payout of the evil payout that he was contractually obligated to for accumulated time. It would mean that at his base pay, because there were also bonus provisions within the contracts, at his base pay, he was earning about $124K a year by my calculations. Not saying they're perfect, but I'm going to come back to that. And I think he had a $20,000 or $30,000 bonus potential, but I put $30,000 in here, assuming he got it in the years past his first contract, because it's not in the first contract. And if I add in all that, and I add in the payout, that would mean that he was making about $147,000 if I round up a year, $147,000 a year in total compensation on salary, bonus, and then ultimately adding that payout in. So let's fast forward. And let's look at the new deal. So this is Susan Cohen Ayers, which I looked at her contract. And as far as I can tell, her base, because she's got two elements Geis didn't have, which is a car payment and a phone and paying for her phone. And she also has a bonus potential, but I'm assuming it's 30K, similar to what Geis's bonus potential would have been here. So that means that she's getting a base of 142, and with bonus potential 172. So let's flip back here for a second. So Ken Geis, 123 bay, 147, round numbers with bonus potential. New person, 142, 172 with bonus potential. And this does not include, because she hasn't even come on board yet. So we're looking at Ken Geis after he left and got his payout. But she has a payout provision. And there is a 6-month potential severance if she were to be terminated. So there's a 6-month severance in her contract and a potential for payout for vacation and sick time as well. So when I compare these, and I'm going to go back again, Ken Geis, 146, Susan Cohen Ayers, 172. I'll tell you what, if I were, I don't know Susan Cohen Ayers, maybe she's wonderful, but based on what I know, if I were placing my bet right now and I had to pick, if I wanted somebody to lead a township, I would go with Ken Geis at the 146 versus Susan Cohen Ayers at the 172. So that's just what's Michael Logue likes to use nothing but buzzwords, so that might be your that might be your proven performance. I don't know, something about iron sharpened iron, something like that, chin out, chest up, or whatever it is. Okay, so but maybe I'm wrong, so I want to throw out something. Why don't we have our trustees, Mr. Logue, Mr. Dills, and Mr. Becker, call a special meeting, since this has been highlighted and raised as a big issue in our community, and explain this all to us. Explain it all in detail, compare the contracts, lay it all out, get it out of this bullshit innuendo, attack dog nonsense, and lay it out. I think, I'm going to be honest, I think Michael Logue loves this whisper campaign, attack dog nonsense. He should share the character. If he wants to talk about Ken Geis, instead of doing things in meetings like editing quotes he's reading, call a special meeting and lay it out for the community so that we can understand what actually happened, what the right exact numbers are. I think mine are pretty damn close to right, and take it from there. So, and you know what? I don't think I'm the only one that thinks that. I think Bill Thomas wants answers. Remember on Tuesday?
I would like the trustees to address that tonight publicly and put the facts on the record. I do want answers from this board tonight.
Okay, so now the time is here. The time is here to have an actual special meeting. Mr. Logue can call it as the president and lay this out for us, the facts and details, so we can end the back and forth. We can end the, what I think is smear campaign, and get to the truth. Okay. If Michael Logue is a man of integrity and he's got these concerns, he has every opportunity to lay it out for us in detail in a meeting where we can all see anything that's wrong about my numbers or what the situation is, the total detailed situation is. Now, I think that a lot of what's going on is distraction. And I want to, is this nonsense, this fixation on Ken Geis goes on and on with some of these people. I want to point out some of the things that we are being distracted from. We are being distracted from that we have a new administrator hire, Susan Cohen Ayers, where there was absolutely nothing public about it. There was no sharing of finalists. There was no asking the community for input. There was no public forums where anybody could ask questions. She didn't even talk at the meeting at which she was appointed. You've probably never even heard the woman's voice before. And I think there could be questions asked about, how did we get to a contract without anything being exposed in public when supposedly there was no action taken in any of the executive sessions that were involved in this? What else could be a distraction? How about the $9,999.60 that was spent without a word being said in a trustee meeting to buy memberships as a apparent payback to the Nature Center for their political support for every employee in Union Township. And then the labeling it as a wellness benefit, probably to keep it from being, try to make it appear not to be an improper interest in a contract by our trustees. What else could be a distraction? The legal fees exploding. So the legal fees in Union Township are just out of control. So in 2021, the entire legal fees were about I think it was $50,046 per the online checkbook. They're $50,000 since January 12th. With new Brody Conover, the new lawyer that's getting paid 50% more than what they voted on January 4th, a law director should get paid, and went to high school with Michael Logue, and was part of a sole source selection where there was no consideration. So while we're fixated on Ken Geis, we're not paying any attention to the fact that if this were to keep up, our legal fees in Union Township could be in over $300,000 by far if we keep spending like this. And there was never even a selection process around this person or this firm. It just happened all in the back room. And we basically learned about it after the fact, and there was absolutely nothing competitive about the process. What else is, I think, are we getting distracted from? How bad the transparency of the government has suddenly become. The meetings, if you try to go to a meeting, they are 4+ hours long. It is ridiculous. No human can endure this for any length of time. It's like being in a gulag. And they start at 6, so a lot of people can't make it. It used to be a lot simpler. We had 2 meetings a month. They started at 7 p.m. We almost never had executive sessions. We had unlimited public participation. And now we have 1 meeting a month. They start at 6 p.m. They're taking like 4 hours. They're dominated by executive sessions. They're trying to limit public input. And at the last meeting, after they themselves cut the meetings in half, they announced that they want to now have go to a consent agenda approach, which means they'd be a significant part of the agenda they never discuss. They just vote up and down on that whole part of the agenda, which I'm not against a consent agenda. I'm just wondering, it's kind of like government solving its own problem. It's like kind of is they've created the problem by cutting the number of meetings in half. And they, by the way, they cut the number of meetings in half when they knew they were going to have to do an administrator selection and probably an assistant administrator selection. So they cut the meetings in half. Now they've created this nightmare scenario of 4-hour meetings. And if they had any intelligence, they would move back to 2 meetings a month and show a little bit of respect for the citizens, that it is absurd to expect people to sit through 4-hour meetings. And it's absurd to then create the problem and say you're going to solve it by going to a consent agenda approach. So I think there has been, quite a bit of things that we're getting distracted from. But all that can get solved, and we can put this behind us. Mr. Logue, Mr. Dills, Mr. Becker, there's a lot of community interest in this Ken Geis payout, and did Ken Geis take vacation, and all these smear things that have been said. Why don't you call a special meeting and detail this out using complete, accurate, full information? Like I said, I think I'm extremely accurate in what I've put out. Hey, but I want to see these guys lay it out for us. Since they're the people that should really do that. They could do it in conjunction with the fiscal officer, who's also involved with keeping track of people's time. So the kind of last thing I want to say is, a long time ago, I had this graphic of me being in the heads of the Claremont GOP insiders. And now I realize Ken Geis, they cannot let it go. It's like the girlfriend you can't get rid, you can't forget. They can't quit talking about them. They are so fixated, both the trustees and their attack dogs, on them. Except I'm gonna put Joe Dills out of that because he didn't get involved in that in the meeting, the ongoing demonizing of Ken Geis, but the other 2 did. And so he's in their heads. I think their actions and their attack dogs' actions have created a lot of interest in this, and it's incumbent upon them now, since they, instead of just doing this bullshit where they smear somebody while they're hiring a new administrator, have a special meeting, lay out the detail so the community can understand how the process worked of Ken Geis's departure after 7 weeks of notice, and what the contract said and what the accurate numbers are. All right. So hopefully that's helpful to some people. I would also encourage people, don't just believe crap that people throw out that are inclined to having a lot of hatred and anger, and they're inclined to not really doing much of any research. We can all do research and make mistakes, but there's people that have a track record of just doing half-assed research because they're only looking to make a political statement of their own versus they're actually trying to understand the truth of what happened. So, but I'm going to close with the point I've been making about, hey, the people, the trustees and their attack dogs have made this an important issue. So why don't the trustees call a special meeting for the community? I'm sure there'd be a lot of interest, and lay out for us exactly how it all worked, how the contracts worked, and what was proper and improper. And if there was something improper, then we should deal with it. But we shouldn't let smears and innuendo constantly dominate a discussion without any fact or truth being brought into the picture. So that's my perspective on it. We'll see if there's more stuff, more smears, more innuendo, more lies, more distortions. But I just hope that people would not fall for that stuff, and that they would say, wait a second, we've got to do proper research. And we have elected officials. If they think that there's something wrong or improper, let them lay it out. They should lay it out versus the whisper campaign, leak campaign through their little attack dogs to try to demonize and harm somebody. Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend.